This week on Ryan and Megan, we're going to discuss frugality as a traveler, the power of investing into memories, and then also how to retire while on travel assignment. So here's how.
Welcome into another Ryan and Megan podcast episode. This is number 26, and we are two traveling physical therapists. We travel as a family, and today we're talking about money.
Money. I would say the number one reason people first look into travel therapy is money. They hear, hey, you're going to make 2 times, 3 times as much more money being a traveler compared to a permanent staff therapist, and that's what gets them into it. But there's a lot more to money than just, hey, make more, be happy. And so we want to talk about that a little bit today. But before we hop into that, if you would, consider leaving us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this podcast. Leaving a 5-star review really helps, our content get out to people, and we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So kind of the first topic we wanted to touch on was living frugally.
Yeah,
as a travel
the power of frugality.
Yeah. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So as a traveler, anyone can be frugal, but as a traveler, we have a unique situation where we can be really frugal, because how you get paid is part of it is a stipend for housing and all that, and that is untaxed, not taxed at all. And then you get paid your hourly wage, which is taxed. But the hourly is usually a lot lower than a typical therapist. So really it looks like, instead of pulling in $130,000 a year, it looks like you're making like $50,000 to $60,000 a year taxable on your taxes. So you're getting taxed less, which means you have more money in your pocket to do with stuff. So some people go balling out with that money. Other people, you could be really frugal, keep driving that crappy little car you drove all through college, so keep stockpiling that money back, put it into retirement accounts early. Know that you don't need much. You're going to go to fun places and you're going to camp. That was one of our big ways that we were frugal, to not spend money on hotels. So you can really kind of tighten up your expenses, follow a budget, and all that extra money you're making as a traveler, you can put to good things like retirement accounts, like saving back for a new car when that needs to happen, emergency fund we always recommend. What are some other things?
Well, I was just thinking, I guess we should say this isn't official financial advice. We don't have any type of degree in financial stuff, but we're just talking from our experience of being new grads, going from broke to working travel jobs and getting a lot more money in our pocket, and kind of what our mentality was around that at the time. And something that you said a lot was like, let's just live just like we were living in college. Let's not increase our standard of living. Let's not go make any big purchases. Let's take that extra money and put it to good use, because, and I'm glad we did, because it's really helped set us up for these years when we only have one person working and we have big expenses that come up, like buying new vehicles.
Yeah, I would definitely say I was really inspired by the FIRE movement, or financial independence, retire early movement. And so I was really, really frugal. We weren't buying extra things. All of our extra money was going into an emergency fund, or we were investing into Roth IRAs, retirement accounts, if you're unfamiliar. And so I would say our first 2 years of travel, we really honed in things. And that has been very beneficial to us. We've been able to buy 3 different cars, used cars, nothing crazy, used cars with cash, because we had stuff saved up. We've had emergency funds for if life happens, or your car breaks down, or you get an extra bill or something like that. We've never felt stressed on that. We've been able to put a down payment on a house. We bought a house even though we still travel. there's been lots of different things. In those first 2 years, we've put enough into retirement accounts that we feel pretty good, for later on in life. Not that we can just totally stop, but we got a good head start while we were young. So these are different things I would definitely say look at. You don't have to do them. Again, this is just from our experience, but it would be wise, I think, to look into them and figure out ways that you can be frugal, and the power of that will pay dividends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the whole idea is you're making a lot more as a traveler. Put that to good use. Put it to use for your future self. In this case, by being frugal. And that has really helped pay off for us.
The
years.
The standard of living thing that Megan said, that's huge, because if you're a college student and you're jumping right into travel, you're used to this standard of living that's probably pretty low. Try to maintain that for as long as you can, because life happens. You have kids and you expect different stuff, and your lifestyle slowly creeps up. And once it creeps up, it's hard to push it back down. And we definitely experience that now that we have a family, now that we've had a little bit nicer things. It's hard to go back on that. So try to limit that lifestyle creep as much as you can, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Now, another big thing we're big on is balancing that perspective of being super frugal with going ahead and spending money on things that matter. And to us, things that matter is memories and doing activities together with the people that we love, spending time in unique places. And so I think that's where investing in memories comes in.
Yeah, I think our thought on this has really evolved. Like I said, at first I was very much, let's retire early. Let's just not do anything fun, not buy anything, put all of our money into retirement accounts so we can retire
and let me just tell you,
age 35.
That was going to fail so hard as soon as we had kids, because I remember when we first got out of school, this is a kind of a separate topic, but we thought our plan was going to be to pay off all of our school debt as fast as we could. And keep in mind, we both went to a private college for 6.5 years for our degree. And so we have a lot of school debt. We would be paying, what was it that we came out to pay monthly?
To pay it off.
Pay it off in like 10 years?
In 10, maybe 5 years. I can't remember quite. It was about like $5,500 a month.
Yeah.
A month.
So that was our goal starting out. We were like, we can do this because we're both working. We're making extra money. As soon as kids drop in and the lifestyle creep happens, we would have failed and we would be stuck with a big old zero in our investment accounts and a big old, still big number in our student
negative
loans.
Number on our debt, our net worth.
We would have no net worth.
Those are definitely things I think you should consider. With the student loans, we went a different route. We went with an income repayment system and are going for forgiveness. There's a lot of blogs out there on it, and it especially works well with travelers because, again, our taxable income is very low. When I first heard it, I was kind of against it because it just sounded abnormal. But the more I dug into it, it makes more sense. And on the net worth part of it and your investments, instead of paying all this money into paying off our student loans, and then 10, 15 years later, we get them all paid off, and then we start from zero and nothing in our retirement accounts. That didn't sound like a good choice for us.
I think it's given us more financial power to be able to buy cars when they break down with cash, to be able to buy a home, to have some money that's invested so we're not like way behind in 10 to 15 years just getting started on that.
Now that's just our plan that we've went down. That's the calculation we've went up is, hey, we'll just maintain these student loans at this interest rate, and then we'll put money into investments because it has a higher interest rate. That's just our plan. Don't necessarily have to consider it. We know plenty of
professional advice.
We know plenty of travelers out there that really hit it hard, used that power of frugality, and in a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, they paid off $100,000, $150,000 in student loan debts. And so it's definitely possible if that's what your game plan is. If you want to go the Dave Ramsey route, hey, there's benefit in that also. So that's another great way where you can use the power of travel and frugality to really get ahead. But what I was saying was that was what we were originally thinking as like retirement early, just put it all away, have very minimal experiences. And I think I'm happy that we went down that route. But again, you could also work really hard for about 5 years and not truly take full advantage of this awesome lifestyle of travel therapy by never allowing yourself to have fun, never allowing yourself to go to that brewery with the friends you just went hiking and met for the first time, and now are lifelong friends later. You can really kind of stunt yourself off. So while we still love the power of frugality, and I think that's great, especially for solo travelers and couples, we've gradually evolved into what's important to us. And what's important is that second topic of invest in memories. So invest in your retirement accounts. That's important. We still invest in our retirement accounts heavily, but also don't forget to invest in memories. So there's a balance to it. Be wise with your money, but also invest into your memories, because just like money, memories of going to that national park and staying in that awesome campsite, or going to that brewery that's in the mountains, or whatever it might be, that pays dividends, because later in life you think about your young self, and now you can't go skiing in Colorado, but you remember yourself going skiing with friends and spending that money, and you're like, it pays dividends in memories even later, because you talk about it with those friends, or you talk about it with your spouse, and you're like, hey, you remember when we went to Arizona and we went to all these national parks because we were so close? That was so cool. And so it does pay dividends on dividends. And I tell you, working home health and seeing a lot of elderly people, none of them tell me that, hey, I just didn't save enough, or I regret spending money here. A lot of them are more focused on, towards the end of their life, I wish I had more time with family. That's what they always say. And I wish I had more time with family because I want to make memories with them. So those are the dividends they're trying to pull from, or that's all they can talk about with me as I'm working with them in their old age, is their family things, or going on a fun experience or trip, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So we've really evolved into, how do we strategically invest into memories that we can then lean on later when maybe we're not as young, maybe we're not as nimble, maybe we can't do that hike anymore. I think there's time blocks that you can go do some of this stuff. So don't waste your time block just because you're trying to be so frugal and retire at 30.
Yeah, I think another aspect of that when it comes to family is also learning to spend money on things that your family will enjoy. Just like making memories with family, but making it enjoyable for our kids also, so that they want to spend time with us and so that they enjoy spending time with us, because one day they're going to get older and they're going to have friends, and they might think that their friends are cooler or more fun.
Lame.
And that's okay for them to have friends and have fun with them. But it would be great to be the family or the house or the trip that our kids want to be at, because they think that's fun too.
Yeah, that's that time frame. So like, we're in the time frame of having young kids, and we get to go do stuff with them. Eventually they're going to grow up and they're going to be teenagers, and we'll have a certain amount of time with them during that window. And there's certain things you get, and then once it passes through, then you don't have that opportunity as much anymore. And so really think about, what time of life are you in? What memories can I invest into? And I say invest because it's going to cost you some money. It doesn't have to be ridiculous, but you're going to truly invest your time, your money into it. And what better way than when you're on a travel assignment with your family or with your spouse, or maybe you're even a solo traveler. What a great time to, hey, I'm going to invest in me and go do that skiing trip. I've always wanted to learn how to ski. Maybe I want to go fly fishing. I have an opportunity to spend money and actually be taught by a guide. There's certain things like that. Now, if you ball out and you're not wise with your money, then that's not good either. So again, there's a happy medium, but consider investing into memories.
Yeah. As an adult, I even remember kind of when my own family hit that kind of rift in decision making of like, are we going to spend money on these experiences or not? And it took a few of my immediate family members had cancer, and it kind of clicked in our family that like, what have we haven't really been going places. We haven't been making memories together. And ever since then, my parents put a higher priority on that. And I remember that as an adult of these experiences, and we always go back to those and we talk about them, and enjoy those memories so much. It's almost like there's not a price you can put on that. And again, it takes wisdom and knowing what can you handle, but it also, you can get creative with that. Even if you don't have a lot of resources to put towards it, it is something to put mental resources towards because it's going to last for your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's where that blend of the power of frugality, the investing in memories, and then using travel as a tool, blending those together to really make some awesome life experiences.
Yeah.
I think that leads to our third and final point, where we talk about how to retire on assignment.
Yeah, you bring this up a lot.
I bring this up a lot. I love it. But before we go into that, if this travel thing is sounding kind of interesting to you, make sure you have a good, trusted recruiter. As always, we love to share the recruiters who we personally work with and trust. And how you do that is you just click the link down in the description. That'll send you to a little form on our website. That just allows us to get your name and understand, a little bit about you, what your profession is, PT, OT, SLP. And then we can pair you up with some of our recruiters, and then they'll reach out to you and help you get started in this journey. Now, signing up doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have to go travel or you're locked in. By any means, it's just an introduction. If you learn more about it and you're like, travel sucks, I don't want to do it, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it.
No commitment.
But don't go out there and put your name into some random website and get a recruiter you don't know anything about. Get a recommended recruiter from someone that has worked with them and they trust. So be sure to do that. Or you can email us at ryanandmegano'Rear@gmail.com.
Yes. So rolling into your next point about retiring while on assignment is how you phrased it, right? Kind of ties in with that whole investing in memories aspect where we are considering what is it that we would want to be doing when we are retiring.
Yeah, so a lot of times we'll get stressed out about money or what should we do. You're trying to make the wisest decision, right? You don't want to make a wrong decision. And it can be stressful. And a lot of times I go back to, if I had all the money in the world and I was retired, what would I want to be doing? At first, people probably answer that, I'd want to buy a red Ferrari and drive it this way. But after you drive a Ferrari around for a week, you're probably going to get down to what you truly want to do in retirement. And for me, and for us, I would say, it's flexibility of our time. So we want to be able to go do stuff when we want to do stuff. We want to be able to take time off when we want to take time off, like in between contracts. And we want to make memories while we're young, healthy, and while we're with our family. And so retire while on assignment really, I think, helps establish that, because you're using travel therapy and saying like, yeah, I don't have all this money in my retirement accounts yet, but I have my youth and I have my time, and I can use that travel style and the contract work to retire now or do some things that you would do when you retire. For me, I love traveling in an RV and I love going on road trips. We get to do that as a traveler. I love going to national parks. So we pack up our family. We go to as many national parks as we can. I love camping. That's a little harder with kids, we find out, but we can do some of that stuff that I would do when I retired. The only difference is I'm not 65. Maybe I don't know what my health will look like. Hopefully good at 65, but you just don't know. And so if you lean too much on that power of frugality and you save up all this money, and then you get to those golden years of 65 when you are allowed to retire, you might have missed out. And so take the time to think about, what would I do right now if I was retired, and start doing some of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's huge. I think that's one thing that we constantly come back to that helps keep us traveling, because it is very unconventional. And there are times, especially with kids, that we are like, there's value in being home and doing the conventional thing. And we love family and we love being around them. But there's a price to pay for choosing that. And then there's also a price to pay for staying on the road. But just like you were saying, you're not guaranteed that time. You're not guaranteed your health. You're not guaranteed your family is going to be able to be around you. So take this opportunity now and seize it to be able to go do the things that require physical activity and require time, and that you get to do with your family while they're in your household. And that's kind of, irreplaceable.
And some of those things aren't, taking big trips. We've done things where we've taken extended time off, like a week and a half between contracts, maybe just to be back home during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken a week off at Christmas and Thanksgiving for the past few years. And that's no trip. We're going to be back home and we get to be with family. So that might be something you do, or maybe it is a trip. Maybe you take a month off between your assignments because you can, and you go see a few national parks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's really flexible. You can be creative. Don't box yourself in. Be creative. And
yeah. And I would say, if it comes to somebody who's not able to travel or just isn't traveling, I think one aspect of travel that helps us make more memories is just the fact that we're in a new place and we're wanting to go explore it and take advantage of being there. So one, that doesn't have to cost a lot of money. So if you are traveling and you want to go make memories still and do things that you would do in your retirement, it doesn't have to cost money, number one. But number two, you can do that at home. It just takes a little bit more effort, I think, because we get so comfortable in our routines and we get used to doing what we're used to doing. And it's hard to explore your own hometown for some reason or your own area. But there's stuff to do no matter where you are. There's cities to travel to, there's parks to go to. So if you're somebody who's not traveling yet, but you're like, man, I really do want to retire early, or I want to take these mini retirements now.
Mini retirements.
You just got to start prioritizing it and just thinking of ways, what can we go do together? What's a close city that we can do a weekend trip? Because it's still possible.
So here we've come kind of full circle again. Started out with me reading about, financial independence, retire early stuff, being super frugal. And then we've gradually moved over to really a great book to read would be Die with Zero. And I can't remember the author right now. But the whole premise of that book is you could stockpile money, you die, and then you can't take it with you. So let's spend some of that money. Let's see if we can time it out and die with zero money. Now you might not spend it all on a red Ferrari. It might be more like you give some money here to your local church. You go on that family vacation. You maybe help out one of your children, maybe one of your cousins. But just the general idea is don't be afraid to spend some of that money during those timeframes of youth, of with kids, of later when the kids are leaving, it's back to you and your spouse empty nesting. Don't be afraid to spend some money and invest in those memories. So I think we've fallen back on that. But what's great with travel is you can kind of move back and forth with what you need. If you need to make that money, then work back-to-back contracts. Be really frugal. Stockpile, put into the important things. If you're in a cool location like Denver, think of it like, hey, I have a 3-month vacation here in Denver. We're going to spend a little money here, but we're going to go really make some good investing in some memories. And so you can flex back and forth. And that's such a awesome thing about travel.
Yeah. And our goal is always to be wise with our money, to steward it. We know that God provides for us. We're Christians, and God has provided for us over and over and over again. And a part of making money is stewarding it well, and we want to honor him with it. And so, like we said, this isn't professional advice. It's just our experience, but it's ways that we've tried to think of what's a good way to use it. What's a good way to steward it. So I hope something in there was helpful.
Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you on what ways are you using travel to financially get ahead, or investing in memories. How are you doing that using travel? We love seeing people are creative. So I love seeing different ways, and it might spark something in our own minds.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We're so glad that you're here, and we enjoy doing this stuff with you. But until next time, see ya.